What happens when the quietest kid in school is pushed too far? In this gripping story of redemption and resilience, one bullied boy trains to change his fate and ends up inspiring a movement. Let's break down. The story begins in a small-town middle school, where fear walks the halls in the form of 3 school bullies, led by a cruel and cocky boy named Miles. His favorite pastime? Picking on the weak, especially one boy, Jimmy Mulligan. Jimmy is quiet, overweight, and gentle. He never fights back. No matter how bad it gets, he keeps his head down and takes it. His only comfort comes from his 2 best friends, Andy and Bobby, fellow outcasts who know what it feels like to be invisible, or worse, targeted. Andy is fiery and loyal. Bobby, soft-spoken and sensitive, is often another target for Miles' cruelty. But it's Jimmy who bears the brunt. Day after day, insult after insult, Jimmy holds all in, until it starts to show. At home, his mother notices something's wrong. He brushes it off. Just tired, he says. Then one morning, everything changes. On their way to school, Jimmy and his friends are stopped by Miles and his crew. This time, the demand is outrageous $100. Money Jimmy clearly doesn't have. As tensions rise and a beating seems inevitable, fate intervenes. A local figure named Vinnie, known throughout the neighborhood for his fighting skills and no-nonsense attitude, passes by. He doesn't say a word. He doesn't need to. His presence alone sends Miles and his gang retreating into the shadows. But it's just a temporary reprieve. The bullying continues. Bobby suffers too, mocked and humiliated in front of classmates until he's on the verge of tears. Jimmy comforts him, hiding his own pain, trying to keep them both afloat. That afternoon, in the school cafeteria, Jimmy piles his tray high with food. Andy and Bobby don't tease him, they understand. It's a quiet moment of warmth, a break from the constant dread. Across the room, a shy girl named Adrian sneaks glances at Jimmy. His friends notice and try to nudge him into talking to her. But before anything can happen, Miles interrupts again. This time, a fellow student speaks up. For the first time, someone dares to challenge Miles. But the tension is broken when another student, larger and stronger, stands beside the challenger. Miles backs down, but the message is clear: Jimmy's still a target. Later that day, on the way home, Miles ambushes Jimmy again. And this time, there's no one to stop him. Jimmy stands his ground for the first time and refuses to pay. What follows is a brutal beating until an elderly man steps in, threatening to call the police. The bullies flee. The man introduces himself, Mr. Action, and brings Jimmy to his home to tend to his wounds. Inside, Jimmy notices a photograph of a much younger Mr. Action in a boxing pose mid-fight, eyes blazing with determination. Turns out Mr. Action was once a national boxing champion, and he started fighting at Jimmy's age. The story sparks something in Jimmy, a fire. He begs Mr. Action to teach him how to fight. Though the old man is too frail to train him himself, he agrees to find someone who can. A few days later, Jimmy walks through the doors of Manny's boxing training center, a gritty, no-nonsense gym where real fighters are made. Manny, a hardened trainer and old friend of Mr. Action, agrees to take Jimmy on, but only if he's ready to give everything. And Jimmy is. But before the transformation begins, a plan is needed. Jimmy can't avoid Miles forever. So Mr. Action devises a clever move. Jimmy will offer to pay Miles double, but only if he's given a month. That month will buy Jimmy the time he needs to train, to prepare. Miles agrees. And for the first time in a long time, Jimmy breathes easy. With the deal in place, Jimmy finally has breathing room. But the countdown has begun. Every day now matters. Manny doesn't go easy on him. From the moment Jimmy walks into the gym, the gloves come off. The workouts are brutal. Drills, sprints, punches until his arms burn. Bruises on top of bruises. And yet, Jimmy shows up. Again and again. But it's not just about the body. It's the mind too. The fear, the doubt, the voice that whispers, "What if you fail?" One afternoon, that voice gets louder. Jimmy's punches are weak. His stance is off. He's sluggish. Manny, sharp as ever, notices. When asked what's wrong, Jimmy brushes it off. Just tired, he says. But Manny knows better. He speaks with Mr. Action later that night. They both sense the real battle isn't just in the ring. It's inside Jimmy's head. Years of bullying, shame, fear. Those wounds are deeper than any bruise. The next evening, riding home with Mr. Action, Jimmy finally cracks. He confesses everything. The fear of failing, of letting everyone down. What if all this work still leads to another beating? Mr. Action listens without judgment. And then quietly, He tells Jimmy something he'll never forget, that effort is never wasted, that the lessons he's learning now, courage, discipline, resilience, will shape the man he becomes. Back at home, Jimmy's father sees the wear in his son's eyes. He doesn't lecture. Instead, he tells Jimmy that one day he might pass on what he's learning now, that these hard-earned lessons could one day protect his own children. That night, something shifts. The doubt doesn't disappear, but Jimmy makes a choice to fight anyway. The next day, things take a turn. Miles and his gang humiliate Bobby in front of the whole school. No one steps in, not the teachers, not the students. Bobby, crushed, asks Jimmy if anything will ever change. Jimmy's answer is simple yes. I have a plan. That evening, Jimmy rides harder than ever to the gym. His legs burn, his heart races, but he feels something new, resolve. Manny sees it, Mr. Action sees it. Even when Jimmy fumbles and nearly knocks over a punching bag, the fire in him is undeniable. From that day forward, Jimmy trains like a man on a mission. Manny turns up the heat. Intense cardio, tougher sparring partners, even mixed martial arts drills. Mr. Action, ever present, keeps Jimmy focused, reminding him why he started. At school, the transformation doesn't go unnoticed. Jimmy confides in Andy, and for the first time, shares the truth about the training, the plan, and the hope that things might change. Adrian, the shy girl from the cafeteria, overhears. She approaches Jimmy after class. Their conversation is quiet, but powerful. A bond forms, soft and new, but full of potential. For Jimmy, it's the first time someone sees more than just a quiet, chubby kid. She sees the fighter beneath. Then, at a party, Eddie, Miles's closest crony, tries to provoke Jimmy, tries to bait him, but Jimmy doesn't bite. He stands tall, calm, in control. And when Eddie backs down, something becomes clear to everyone around. Jimmy's not the same kid anymore. Time rushes forward. The day of the showdown draws near. That morning, Jimmy wakes up early. No fear, no doubt, just focus. At school, Miles is waiting, sneering, confident, cruel. He threatens Jimmy again, promising that if he doesn't pay, his friends will suffer. But Jimmy doesn't flinch. Later, in a quiet moment, Jimmy crosses paths with Vinnie, the same man who once scared off Miles with a glance. Vinnie has heard about Jimmy's training. He gives him a nod of approval, a rare gesture that means more than words ever could. But what Jimmy doesn't know is that Eddie has been listening. That afternoon, Miles unveils a new plan. He's recruited someone else, someone brutal, a street brawler known as Glassjaw Billy. Word spreads fast. By lunchtime, the entire school knows. Everyone's whispering. The final showdown isn't just expected, it's coming. But what Miles doesn't count on is Vinnie. Acting from the shadows, Vinnie intercepts the plan. He sends a message through his own network. When the fight is about to begin, Glassjaw Billy never shows. Instead, Vinnie appears in person, calm, confident, and coldly delivers the news. Your backup's not coming. And now Miles has no choice. It's just him and Jimmy. No more games. No more threats. The crowd forms. A circle of silence. Miles swings first, hard, fast, wild. The punches land. Jimmy stumbles. But he doesn't fall. He takes a breath, then starts to move. All that training kicks in. The footwork, the counters, the strategy. Jimmy weaves, dodges, lands a punch that catches Miles off guard. Another, and another. With every blow, Jimmy proves he's not the same boy Miles once tormented. The crowd watches, stunned. Miles, frustrated and desperate, calls for backup. But this time, Andy and Bobby step in. No longer afraid, no longer silent. Together, the three friends stand as one. And the bullies? They fall. The tide turns fast. What once felt like a hopeless fight becomes a statement. This ends now. As the dust settles, Jimmy approaches Miles. His voice steady. His message clear: this isn't just for me. It's for everyone you hurt. Miles, beaten and humiliated, says nothing. He turns and walks away. For good. From a distance, Mr. Action watches, pride shining in his eyes. Jimmy has become more than a fighter. He's become a leader, a protector, a symbol of quiet strength. And the world notices. Footage of the fight goes viral. Students share it. The story spreads. The boy who stood up, who fought back, who changed everything. At school, everything shifts. Jimmy, Andy, Bobby, and Adrian walk the halls with confidence. No longer invisible. No longer afraid. The bullies fade into the background. And in their place, a sense of unity. Respect. Jimmy never wanted to be a hero. But sometimes heroes don't choose the fight. The fight chooses them. And when it did, Jimmy didn't just survive, he rose.